What should I make today? There's so much to make in this world. I can read, I can tell someone a story. I don't know. Well, whatever it is, I want to hear an interesting story today. Which one should I do? I'll flip the pages. Oh, yes, this is a very interesting story. Oh, hello, traveler! Have you come to hear a great story from me? Oh, I know a good story. I'll tell you the greatest story of the greatest hero in all of Minecraft. Well, let's get straight into it, young adventurer. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there was a boy. His name was Steve, and he had big dreams. He wanted to become a hero one day, but he was just a peasant. His family was the poorest in his whole village, and he was bullied a lot. They told him that he had no chance of ever becoming a hero. But then, that's when he met his first three friends. Their name was Brian and Alex. Alex, who was a great attacker and farmer, who also wanted to become a hero. And Brian, he didn't know what he wanted to become, but they became friends quite quickly. Alex, the daring one that was willing to face any danger. Steve, the smart one. And Brian, the one that just feels left behind. Brian always felt weak and left behind, and he eventually gets to become his downfall. But Steve, as they grew older in their small village in the ancient builder camp, Steve started training. He really wanted to become a hero and he wanted to pursue his dream. So he made a wooden sword and eventually started hitting a rock that he had found in the dirt. Training and training and training, trying to become the best. He trained and trained and trained, and eventually Alex joined with him. They would try out different weapons. Alex would try out a sword and axe, but it wouldn't do anything. It wasn't a weapon for her. But eventually, she found a trident buried under the water, and then this is what she used as her weapon. Steve would continue to train with the sword, becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. Eventually, he started to participate in small little tournaments that can earn his family some money. Slowly but surely, Steve became a well-trained warrior and really honed his skill with the blade. But in the night, Steve was just walking around with Steve and Brian when eventually a horn was sounded. Noise all around the village erupted. Everybody going to their homes, kids running and crying. Steve ran to his family's house and yelled, "What's happening? What's happening?" They said, "We're under attack! We're under attack! Everyone, to your places! To your places!" This had never happened in Steve's whole life before. He didn't know what to do. But this is also a chance that he could become a hero, the hero that he always wanted to be. He ran into his room and grabbed his two swords. He had been working on this sword for a while, and Brian finally forged it for him. A great iron sword. He rushed out of his house. "I have to become a hero. I will do this!" As the enemy ancient builders attacked, trying to break down the walls, Steve ran through. He slashed and slashed and slashed, destroying every single ancient builder that came near to him. Trying and trying and trying, but he couldn't take on all the ancient builders. But then some more of his ancient builder allies came on and started to help him. "Thank you! Push forward!" They pushed forward, Steve leading the attack. He attacked, but eventually two enemy ancient builders were on him. He slashed He took out one, but the other one was right behind him and was about to kill him. No! Alex yelled. She threw her trident and it pierced the enemy ancient builder. Thank you, Alex! Then Steve brought out his shield and advanced to defeat the enemy. Then Brian came out, running. Ha! Take this! Axe in his hand. He didn't know how to fight, but he wasn't just going to let the enemy ancient builders take out his home. He slashed and slashed too, but he wasn't good enough. Then Brian was knocked out. Ah! Steve yelled, Brian! He ran over, but then Brian was stabbed. No! Steve took out the ancient builder that stabbed Brian. Brian coughed up blood. Steve yelled, Brian, are you okay? Brian weakly muttered, it's not a deadly blow. I'll be fine. Okay, Brian. Just stay here. I'll get medical help. Medical help soon arrived, and Steve rushed back out to the battlefield. They took out the rest of the ancient builders, and the remaining enemy ancient builders fled from the castle. And that was the beginning of Steve becoming a hero. Steve was praised by all of his village. Everybody loved him now, and nobody bullied him. They would throw out cakes and call him the hero of the village, because that's what he was, the hero of the village. But Brian lay there in his bed, still injured, and he started to grow jealous. Alex and Steve had so much fame, but he just went back into the background. Nobody cared about him. Nobody knows the name Brian. He's just weak, and nobody cares about him. Once Brian was healed, Steve and Alex left have a great adventure to save the village. And Brian was fine with that. But the worst thing about it was that they didn't even tell him. They didn't even request for him to come. This made Brian angry, and he ran out into the forest. As he walked, and as the lightning came down, he saw something that would change him forever. He saw a weird block. He wouldn't know that it was the command block. Someone or something was calling him, telling him to touch the command block, that everything that he ever wanted would be given with this command block. All the power he could have, he could defeat Steve, and he could defeat Alex, but all he needed to do was touch the command block. And that's exactly what he did. He touched the command block, and then he felt his body changing into something he always wished he has. His eyes started to glow light, and now Brian was transformed. He laughed. All this power, it feels amazing. I must have a new name. Ah, yes. I will no longer be Brian. I will be Hero Brian! And then with this, he found a new block that this command block could summon. Bedrock. And using this bedrock, he would come back to the village, every single village, and tell the villager that he can pick them somewhere safe. They'd listen, of course, but he would just really trap them in a bedrock box. This, to him, is saving every villager. They'll never be damaged again, or killed, or hurt. But then they'll be trapped forever. Herobrine would do this to every single village, but eventually his anger would start to take over as the command block slowly started to corrupt him more and more. And then, instead of trapping the villagers with the bedrock, he would destroy the village! As he came to village, searching for Steve so they can finally fight for a whole 2 years. Steve searched for Brian, who is now Herobrine, and Herobrine would search for Steve. Herobrine would destroy many, many villages until Alex, Steve, and Herobrine would finally meet one more time. Herobrine would descend. Steve! I've been waiting for this for so long. I finally have the chance to fight you. I've been waiting for this my whole life. Just to defeat you! What's wrong with you, Brian? Why were you destroying all these villages? All these villagers, they only treat me with pain. Only pain. Now, I will destroy you, Steve. And Alex! Herobrine rushed forward at Steve, but Steve dodged his attack. Alex picked up her trident. No, Alex! Leave this to me. This is my battle and my battle only. What? Why? No! Leave! Steve drew his two swords, one iron, one diamond. Herobrine, axe in hand, looked at Steve. I guess this was destined to happen, Steve. I guess it was, Brian. Steve closed his eyes, then opened them quickly. It seemed that Steve had also found a hidden power. Steve's eyes turned white, just like Herobrine's. Now, it's time to fight. What power have you, cousin? Steve looked at Herobrine. The power you possess is mine. You wish to have a power, the same power that I have naturally. And this is it. This is the power that I have naturally, and you use my power. Whoa. So, I just really recreated your power. Cool! Herobrine rushed at Steve, and Steve dodged his attack. They attacked and attacked. Slash, 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 slash. Steve tried to defeat Herobrine, and Herobrine tried to defeat Steve. They slashed. Craters were created. Explosions. Swords were knocked out of hands. Explosions and explosions. Wounds were made. And the battle continued for 3 days straight until, at last, Steve, with one final look into Brian's eye, stabbed him in the heart. Brian coughed up blood. Why, Steve? And for the last time, as his eyes turned back green in pain, Herobrine sat on the floor, dead. But he said one final thing. Steve, mark my words. This will not be the last of me. And that is the end of today's story. If you wish to hear another one, then subscribe. Now leave my ship before I kill you. Oh, sorry. That was another soul talking. Okay.